Hare Krishna. We'll start with the invocation. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Varinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. We'll first answer Lakshmi's question from the Kirtan we were listening, that who is Hari? So the Kirtan was specifically for Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So on Thursday, 9th of March, is the appearance day, not 9th, sorry, 13th of March, Thursday. Today is 9th. So 13th of March, Thursday is the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Kirtan was specifically for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Hari is another name of Krishna. Hari means somebody who steals your heart. So we want Krishna to be Hari, to steal our heart. Lakshmi, does that answer your inquiry?
Yes, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay, Madan Prabhu, thank you. You are also correct. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, so referring to the same point. All right, thank you all for coming. So quick announcement that many of you are getting this error on your phones while playing the recordings. So I got an email confirmation from Zoom company that they are in the process of fixing this glitch. And March 16, they plan to release a patch to fix this glitch. So once that patch is released and installed, hopefully that should resolve this issue, and you all should be able to then play the recordings on your phones like before. So today we will first cover Nectar of Instruction text number 3, the remaining 3 items, and finish text number 3. And then I will answer inquiries. Although I am pretty sure that I will not be able to answer all the inquiries because the volume of inquiries is more than what our time will permit. But not to worry. The leftover inquiries I will answer in our subsequent classes. So we are on Nectar of Instruction, text number 3, and we will read text number 3 again and just the translation, and then discuss the remaining 3 points. Although, has anybody memorized text number 3? Anybody wants to recite by looking it up? You can even recite by directly looking at the book. Anybody is interested?
Can do. I can recite.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Utsahan nischayat thairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyahat sadho virte sadbir bhakti prasiddhyadi.
Very good. Dhara, if you want to read the translation.
Hare Krishna. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1. Being enthusiastic. 2. Endeavoring with confidence. 3. Being patient. 4. Acting according to regulative principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna. 5. Abandoning the association of non-devotees. And 6. Following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. So we have already discussed the first 3 items at our last class, which are Utsan, Nishchay, Dhairya, that being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, and being patient. And the remaining 3 items of Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat, Sangha Tyaga, and Satovrite we'll discuss today. So Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat, that practice of rules and regulations of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada says, chanting 16 rounds of japa every day, following the 4 regulative principles is what we have to follow. So neglect of regulative principles will destroy devotional service. That's a pretty strong statement. Now question becomes that what does it mean, neglect of regulative principles? The answer is something that, you know what, I am advanced enough. I don't need to chant 16 rounds. I don't need to follow 4 regulative principles. No, this is not correct. This is not going to work. Neglecting regulative principles is going to destroy your devotional service. By tat tat karma pravartanat, by following rules and regulations, is how one can make spiritual advancement. Sometimes, for the sake of pleasing others, we may compromise our principles that this is not very important, or that we should not be fanatic. No, we have to be very careful. If we do this compromising attitude, then we will one by one, one after the other, we will neglect all the principles. So this does not mean that we have to deliberately displease people. No, we don't have to go around calling people as fools. No, we don't do that. In the name of saying that I am not going to compromise, and that's why I will go and call others as fools. No, we don't do that. Our goal is not to displease people. Our goal is to please Krishna. So Krishna is pleased when people come to him. We are all his children and we are all lost. So the purpose is to attract people to Krishna. Therefore, we have to present Krishna conscious philosophy in an interesting and an appealing manner without compromising the rules and regulations. So presenting the message in an appealing manner is different from changing the message so that it appeals people. These two are 2 different things. We should not change the message so that it appeals to people. No, message has to stay the same. But we can present it in an appealing manner so that people can become attracted to Krishna. Now, presenting the message in an appealing manner is the expertise of Srila Prabhupada and the various acharyas. Any questions, comments, realizations on Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat? Okay. So next point is Sangatyaga, to give up bad association. This is the crux of nectar of instruction, meaning the association point is the crux of nectar of instruction. So just as in the Chaitanya Charitamrita verse, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam is repeated. The repetition is for emphasis that there is no other way but to chant the holy name of the Lord. Therefore, it says 3 times, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam. And actually, if you read that whole verse, it further goes on to even negatively also say 3 times. Kalau nasti, kalau nasti, kalau nasti. That there is no other way, no other way, no other way. Similarly, the repetition of Sangatyaga in Nectar of Instruction, text number 2 and text number 3, is for emphasis, is for reminding us of the importance of giving up bad association. Therefore, the point of Sangatyaga is repeated. Bad association can pollute our desires, intelligence, and faith. Good association, on the other hand, can purify our desires, intelligence, and strengthen our faith. Material desires come from 2 ways. One is from inside us, from past lives, from past memories. And second is from outside, from the culture of the society. The easiest way is to minimize contamination of negative desires, is to avoid people who carry those negative desires. Now, this is not to look down upon materialistic people that look, I am pure and you are impure, and therefore I will not associate with you. No, we don't do that. We don't call materialistic people as impure or look down upon them. Yes, we have to avoid association, and we'll discuss how to avoid association and how to give our association. We'll discuss very soon. So person infected with material desire is not lower than me. Rather, the point is that the person's infection should not come to me. Therefore, I have to protect myself. So why we don't call materialists as lower is, it is just that we have become lucky that some spiritual master, some pure devotee showered his mercy on us. Therefore, we are able to continue on the path of spirituality, and materialistic people are still lacking that mercy. So we don't call them as impure or lower. No, we actually try to shower our mercy onto them, the mercy that we have received. Because they are innocent people. So we should not look down on non-devotees or treat them lower than human beings. No, we don't do that. We actually respect all. All are respected. Simultaneously, we have to also protect ourselves. Just as during the COVID pandemic time, specifically those who were in the medical field, they did not say that they will not see the patient. No, almost everybody was infected, or not everybody, but majority of people were infected by COVID. So what the doctors or those in medical profession did was, they put on protection for themselves, and then they saw the patient and cured the patient. Similarly, when dealing with materialistic people, we just protect ourselves and we try to give our association to materialistic people, we try to give association of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna to these innocent people. Now, Sangatyaga is to be applied according to time, place, and circumstances. So very important to understand, rather than blindly saying, I'm not going to associate with you. Because we all work in the material world and we do associate with our colleagues who are generally materialistic people. So, how much we can avoid association of non-devotees cannot be told to everyone as a single statement or a standard rule. No, it will depend according to time, place, and circumstances. So there are 3 degrees of association. One is devotee association. Second is non-devotee association. And the third is anti-devotional association. And there are degrees of devotees, meaning hierarchy of devotees. That lowest is neophyte, next level up is Kanishta Adhikari, next level up is Madhyam Adhikari, and the highest is Uttam Adhikari. Right now I will focus on Madhyam Adhikari because this discussion about the hierarchy of devotees will come up as we discuss Nectar of Instruction later text. So Madhyam Adhikari has 4 characteristics. First, he sees Krishna as the object of my affection. Second, with devotees, he makes friends with devotees. Third, those who are ignorant and innocent, the Madhyam Adhikari gives them mercy. And fourth, those who are envious or atheist, the Madhyam Adhikari will avoid that association. So the Madhyam Adhikari characteristics number 2, 3, and 4 are basically the 3 degrees of association. So second characteristics is devotee association. The Madhyam Adhikari makes friends with devotees. So this is the 3 degrees of association linked to 3 levels of devotees, or 3 kinds of people, not necessarily devotees. The second characteristics was devotees, you make friends. The third characteristics is those who are ignorant or innocent, meaning materialistic people. So this is the non-devotee association. You give mercy to such innocent people. And you be Krishna's instrument to share the mercy, to share the knowledge with innocent people. And the third degree of association, anti-devotional, is the 4th characteristics of Madhyam Adhikari, that those who are envious or atheist, you avoid that association because it is anti-devotional. So Sangatyaga primarily refers to anti-devotional association, which makes our spiritual life difficult because there is direct and sustained attack on our faith. Now, question is, so how to protect ourselves from anti-devotional association? This is the most important point. We protect ourselves by coming in association of devotee association. So I explained earlier, and I'll repeat, that in the next book that we'll read, Nectar of Devotion, for Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada has many lectures that I will be sending it to you. One of the lecture, Prabhupada recites these nectar of instruction verses. So even though the nectar of instruction verse says Sangatyaga, instead of reciting Sangatyaga, Prabhupada recites Sadhu Sangha. That Prabhupada is giving the solution that how to avoid Sangatyaga is by Sadhu Sangha. The answer to avoid anti-devotional association is to busy ourselves with Sadhu Sangha, with devotee association. Because we are social creatures. We all need association. If we don't have association where we can share our values, then we will have to find some other association and start sharing values of that association. Srila Prabhupada founded ISKCON exactly for the purpose of Sadhu Sangha, devotee association. ISKCON is a place where people can come together and reciprocate so as to move closer to Krishna. How to do this in our specific individual lives will vary according to time, place, and circumstances. So Sangha Tyaga we do by making circles of association of devotees. In these circles of association, we try to keep ourselves closer to Krishna as much as is possible. Sangatyaga means we choose the association, means that we choose devotee association that nourishes our bhakti, and by staying in that devotee association or busying ourselves in devotee association so that we don't have much time left for bad association. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Asat Sanga Tyagat Ai Vaishnavachar, meaning the characteristics of a devotee is Asat Sanga Tyaga, to give up association of non-devotees. Now, Sanga Tyaga, avoiding association of Mayavadis as well as materialistic people. Now, it's a very obvious question everyone will have about office environment, that what do I do at office? I am surrounded by materialistic people as my colleagues. So office environment can be anti-devotional also when somebody is talking about God, meaning talking about against God or against Krishna and against Krishna's devotees. But we have to work in that environment. So in the office environment, we can be functionally present, officially present. We don't have to become emotionally involved with what others are saying, meaning we are just formal, we are courteous, we are functional, we do whatever is required as part of our job, but we don't get emotionally attached with our colleagues. We don't associate with them after work hour parties, etc. So not to be emotionally attached means that the bond between people happens not just by physical proximity. Rather, the bond between people happens by sharing of joys and sorrows together. If we are not getting into the emotions of material enjoyment of materialistic people around us, then we are not associating with them. So I have to work at my office with materialistic people. Okay, I will work because it is an obligation, it is a functional need. but I will not get involved in their joys and sorrows. In an epidemic, people are infected. So I have to do whatever is required to protect my health. Just as many of us during the COVID time, all of us during the COVID time, put on mask or gloves or protective gear to protect ourselves. So if materialistic people are talking about something anti-devotional, then I will avoid to talk to them completely as much as is possible. If materialistic people are talking about non-devotional subject matters, such as sports and politics, which are not necessarily anti-devotional, then if I can leave the conversation, I will leave. But sometimes you are there with a senior member or a manager who is also talking about these non-devotional subject matters, then I might just be nominally present over there, but I will not get my heart involved in it. I will give you my practical example that we have this weekly or bi-weekly office meetings. And at the start of the meeting, everybody is generally talking about weather or sports or whatnot. So that initial conversation, when it goes on, I'm generally signed up virtually. I lower my volume because what's the point of hearing that? Nothing. So I lower the volume till the actual conversation for office related conversations start. That's when I start hearing and discussing. So the effect of non-devotee association is that because non-devotees are not practicing devotional service at all, while we are practicing devotional service, and if we take their association, so we start feeling that why should I be doing this and torturing myself or waking up early, chanting 16 rounds of japa, following 4 regulative principles? Do I really need to do all this? So many people live in the material world without doing devotional service. Then why am I tormenting myself? We start getting these incorrect feelings like this. And this is how our mind gets contaminated. So we have to protect ourselves. When we come in association of devotees, we see that so many devotees are seriously practicing devotional service, from attending Mangal Aarti early morning 4:30 a.m., chanting 16 rounds of japa by the time 7 o'clock everybody is going to work. Many devotees have already finished their 16 rounds of japa. Many have done some devotional services. So we see all this and in devotee association, and then we also get the feeling, oh, I should also practice devotional service seriously. So we have discussed this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse number 62, the Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsa verse. One of the lines says, the second line says, Sangat Sanjayate Kama, that through association desires develop. We avoid non-devotee association in a natural way by associating with the devotees. But it is not just associating with devotees. It is actually a step forward. The text number 3 says Sato Vritti, which is the last point, that develop the vritti of the satas. Satas means pure devotee and vritti means the inclination. But before I discuss Sato Vritti, I will pause for questions, comments, realizations on Sangha Tyaga. Everybody on the same page in terms of working in the material world, how to avoid association by staying functional, and you try to give your association to others by talking Bhagavad Gita or showing them Bhagavad Gita or giving them Bhagavad Gita. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So it is not just the association of devotees. It's actually, we take a step forward. Text number 3 says, Sato Vritti, that develop the vritti of satas, develop the inclination of pure devotees. It is not just staying in close proximity with devotees, but more importantly, we try to cultivate how the devotees make Krishna their topmost priority. How they orient all their life around Krishna, how they center all their relationships around Krishna. When we also try to imbibe that characteristics, those inclinations, then the result will be what Nectar of Instruction text number 3 last line says, Bhakti Prasiddhyati, that our bhakti will flourish. So Satavrate is the tendencies of those who are pursuing higher spiritual knowledge, higher spiritual truth. So Sato means transcendental devotees, those who are pure, those who pursue higher spiritual truths. And Vriti means inclination. So Srila Prabhupada says, Sato Vrate, as the practice of devotional service, is by following the examples of previous acharyas. Guru knows the way, Guru shows the way, and Guru goes the way. So Guru is the example of Sat. We try to incorporate the vritti of that Sat in our lives. Sato vrite is very important principle to follow the examples and inclinations of Guru and pure devotees. Unless we are purified internally, motivated in spiritual life, we should avoid the association of materialistic people, and simultaneously we should not avoid the association of devotees. I may think that I am advanced, I can practice better spiritual life on my own, that there is so much chit chat happens in devotee association also, that better I be alone. No, this is incorrect. So this is one of the question asked. We'll soon discuss that in the question answer session also. That loneliness, being alone, is not the solution. Plus, within devotee association also, devotees are at different levels. So you have to find like-minded devotees. Couple of devotees were there in the previous class just 30 minutes ago about devotee association. And we discussed that we have to do services with like-minded devotees because we are all following the standards, and you will notice that others who are not following the standards, if we also associate with them, then we also end up being like them. So we have to be cautious that with whom we do services. There's at least one devotee virtually present here who does services at the temple when we all are not there collectively. I made arrangement that, okay, go and do service with so-and-so devotee and don't do service with other devotees because the other devotees are not following the proper standards. So in general, as compared to non-devotees, yes, we prefer association of devotees. This is Satovritte. And within devotee association also, not everyone is equally serious. Therefore, we have to find out sincere devotees and have their association to increase our devotion and our devotional inclination. So there are many devotees virtually present here who were also there in the previous class just which ended 30 minutes ago. Would like to share the conversation we had about this devotee association. Dara, Gauri, Matan. Yeah.
Prabhu, I remember what you just already mentioned, that associate with the devotees who are following um, the way scriptures tell you to do the service.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Any questions, comments, realizations? So we have completed text number 3. And rest of the class today, I will answer inquiries. So understand that nectar of instruction will end very, very soon. I have explained that the first 4 texts will spend the bulk of our time. So at our next class, we will most likely finish text number 4. And then remainder of nectar of instruction from text number 5 to 11 will get completed in 2 classes. May happen third class depending on level of or the volume of inquiries. But otherwise, with reasonable volume of inquiries in the following 2 classes, nectar of instruction will get finished. Because the first 4 texts are the crux of nectar of instruction. Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. So I'll bring up inquiries submitted by devotees and I will answer one after the other. So the count of the inquiry starts from 9 because the continuation I had answered up to number 8. And in the upcoming slides, the count will start from 1 again because they are all submitted in different classes. So I'm just trying to segregate them as I'm trying to answer them as well. So question number 9. Sense enjoyment like games, movies, which are not directly breaking the 4 regulative principles, I felt it harsh for new people to give up these habits in the beginning. I don't want to give the perception that Krishna consciousness makes them stop everything they like to do. Connecting thing to Krishna is to be done, but it may come with time. Please help on this situation to explain the applicability of these principles to students. So you are correct that we don't force anyone. We should simply try to engage everyone in Krishna's service. Just as Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita 3.26 that don't disturb anyone, just try to engage them in Krishna's service. By engaging them in services, the material world taste will automatically drop. So the devotee who has asked this question has heard this discussion in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, batch number 3 and 4, that sense gratification activities such as games and movies, which do not break regulative principles, they still cause the mind to agitate, and these still take one away from Krishna consciousness. Meaning, on one hand, you are trying to purify the mind by doing japa and devotional services, and simultaneously watching movies, etc., will contaminate your mind, therefore is counterproductive to advancing in Krishna consciousness. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Question number 10. Can you please explain Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Bairangi Shakti? So this question number 10 is perfect example of reading Nectar of Instruction purport with rapt attention and making inquiry of the point that I did not discuss in class. I absolutely did not touch upon these points when we were reading the relevant Nectar of Instruction purport on the text. So there are three relevant energies for us. Krishna has many energies, but these three energies are relevant for us. Antarang Shakti is internal energy. We do devotional service under the internal energy, which is controlled by Srimati Radharani. Tatastha Shakti is marginal energy. So we all souls are marginal energy. Why marginal? Because we can either choose to go under Antarang Shakti, means the internal energy, or we can choose to go to Bairangi Shakti, which is material nature. So this is the third energy. Bairangi Shakti is Prakriti, is the third and the external energy. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Question number 11. I see that the desire for more and not being content with what they have is getting everyone dissatisfied, anxious, and depressed. Everyone is angry at each other, and nobody takes the effort to understand the other person. Wouldn't it be helpful to teach spirituality starting from much younger years? It is more important than learning language, math, and science. I think if it were taught, it would decrease the burden of mental health problems that the younger generation is facing. So you are absolutely correct. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.1, we'll soon read from the screen. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.1 says, Prahlad Maharaj is teaching this, that Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. scriptures should be taught from the age of 5 or even younger. So if you attend a home program of any devotee, say during Kartik month or some special occasions, devotees do hold home programs, try to attend one of the home programs, and you will notice that many parents have taught Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam scriptures to their very, very young children. And during these home programs, the Krishna Katha discussions, these very young children participate wonderfully, providing Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam references. So you make it a goal for yourself to teach these Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam scriptures to your kids as you are learning in our classes. And I will also recommend that, yes, I understand it's not taught at schools, but at least we have this forum that you can take advantage. Therefore, I will recommend that you can consider to make your kids or niece and nephews sit on to listen to Bhagavad Gita classes as well as the upcoming Srimad Bhagavatam new batch classes. So Srimad Bhagavatam new batch will start sometime around Rath Yatra in July of this year. Not very far. So it's coming up very soon. So by getting the kids to simply listen to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam discussion, they are getting the association of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And more importantly, they are being occupied in a positive manner. Therefore, that they have no time for other nonsense of the material world. Does that answer the inquiry? And we will soon read from Bhagavatam. Meghna, would you like to read Srimad Bhagavatam preface extract? So this is, we have covered this for those who attended Bhagavatam. So this Srimad Bhagavatam preface.
Yes, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam preface extract. There is a need of a clue as to how humanity can become one in peace, friendship, and prosperity with a common cause. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need. For it is a cultural presentation for the re-spiritualization of the entire human society.
Right? Re-spiritualization of the entire human society. Therefore, I recommend for you to consider, for you all to consider, to have your kids, niece and nephews to sit on the Srimad Bhagavatam new batch when it starts. It's only a couple months away. Get your kids ready for that class, that they sit together with you. And if they can participate, by all means, they can participate. For example, in batch 1 and 2, Sridhar Prabhu in India, he has young kids. They start with the reading. Or in batch 3 and 4, we have Archana, who's very young son. For those who are in Toronto, they have met the young son, Archana's young son, Devraj. He reads. So if your kids are able to read, by all means, or worst case scenario, let them sit and hear the discussion. So I quoted Bhagavatam verse and we'll read that verse. Brijesh Prabhu, from screens, we have Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.1 translation. Lakshmi.
Canto 7, Chapter 6, Verse 1, translation. Prahalada Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Hare
Right,
Krishna.
so Lakshmi will continue reading the purport that what the question said, that isn't it beneficial to teach scriptures from start? And yes, Bhagavatam actually says that exact same point. But since these scriptures are not taught in schools, you use our forum that we have to teach the same scriptures to young kids or your niece and nephew, just as many devotees have done for their children. Lakshmi, purport, extract.
Hare Krishna. The whole purpose of Vedic civilization and of reading the Vedas is to attain the perfect stage of devotional service in the human form of life. According to the Vedic system, therefore, from the very beginning of life, the brahmacharya system is introduced so that from one's very childhood, from the age of 5 years, one can practice modifying one's human activities so as to engage perfectly in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Does that answer the inquiry? Yes, no, silence. Although the inquiry is asked by one devotee, but should apply to all.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So I'll continue answering inquiries. So now the count of the inquiries again starts from 1 because this was submitted from a different class. So we'll start with count number 1 again. That if we don't go out with office people, try to avoid gossip, then how will we form bond in office with colleagues, and how will we be promoted? Promotions are based on work and also how you are with peers. Even though it's material world thinking, but in a country like Canada, we need to be successful at work to earn good and survive here, especially when we have recently moved here. So we already discussed a few minutes ago to avoid association of materialistic people, and because it is going to be harmful for us, and that at workplace we have to be functionally present. We don't have to get emotionally involved with our colleagues. We have clearly discussed in Nectar of Instruction text number 2 that we have to avoid association of materialistic people. They are infected people. And if you associate with them, then it is going to infect you also. And text number 2 says your bhakti will be reduced or destroyed if you associate with materialistic people. The same point was repeated for emphasis in text number 3 also. There is absolutely no reason to bond with materialistic colleagues. There's no reason. Bond with devotees. On the point of earning more money, in our previous classes, we have already discussed multiple times from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.27.8 that everyone is getting their predestined happiness and distress simply by over endeavor. It is not possible to earn more money. So I will bring up this 3.27.8 one more time and we'll read again the translation and the purport. Chaitanya Prabhu from screen, if you want to read the translation and purport at a faster pace, please.
Hare Krishna. For his income, a devotee should be satisfied with what he earns without great difficulty. He should not eat more than what is necessary. He should live in a secluded place and always be thoughtful, peaceful, friendly, compassionate, and self-realized. Purport. Everyone has accepted a material body must maintain the necessities of the body by acting or earning some livelihood. A devotee should only work for such income as is absolutely necessary. He should be satisfied always with such income and should not endeavor to earn more and more simply to accumulate the unnecessary. A person in the conditioned state who has no money is always found working very hard to earn some with the object of lording it over material nature. Kapila Deva instructs that we should not endeavor hard for things which may come automatically, without extraneous labor. The exact word used in this connection, yadrachaya, means that every living entity has a predestined happiness and distress in his present body. This is called the law of karma. It is not possible that simply by endeavors to accumulate more money a person will be able to do so. Otherwise, almost everyone would be on the same level of wealth. In reality, everyone is earning and acquiring according to his predestined karma. According to the Bhagavatam conclusion, we are sometimes faced with dangerous or miserable conditions without endeavoring for them. And similarly, we may have prosperous conditions without endeavoring for them. We are advised to let these things come as predestined. We should engage our valuable time in prosecuting Krishna consciousness. In other words, one should be satisfied by his natural condition. If by predestination one is put into a certain condition of life which is not very prosperous in comparison to another's position, one should not be disturbed. He should simply try to utilize his valuable time to advance in Krishna consciousness. Advancement in Krishna consciousness does not depend on any materially prosperous or distressed condition. It is free from the conditions imposed by material life. A very poor man can execute Krishna consciousness as effectively as a very rich man. One should therefore be very satisfied with his position as offered by the Lord. Another word.
Okay.
Okay.
Does
Hare
that
Krishna.
answer the inquiry? Even though one devotee has asked, I'm pretty sure this applies to many of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Kunal Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, Prabhuji, I think this is, I mean, we read this, but when we go around, we don't see this getting followed. Like even during Sunday feast, I mean, there's like it is an event for networking that happens on Sunday. That's what I have observed. Maybe I'm wrong. So how do we reconcile that? Because we read this, but something else.
Networking as in what networking event you are referring to?
No, I mean, like people are kind of like trying to meet each other, trying to make new friends, which is nothing wrong. Like I don't say that it is wrong, but like it is less of devotional service. That's what I've seen. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
So on the Sunday feast, there is an activity of engaging new people to tag along with other existing devotees. Is that what you are referring to?
Yes, basically, but that is
But
planned.
yeah, but that is actually very good. That is actually required that whosoever is new, there will be an announcement that raise your hand who is new at Sunday feast, and they will say, okay, you come and meet with some devotees, ask questions. The purpose is for newcomers to come and associate with devotees. So that there's nothing wrong with it. Actually, it's better that you are getting new people to associate with devotees and answer their inquiries because they may be shy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because that is how it is supposed to be. But when we just read the purport and the translation, it says don't endeavor more, don't
Yeah.
try
So
more.
yeah. So endeavor that purport 3.27.8 refers to material world endeavor. That many think that if I work more, I will earn more, and Lord Kapila says that is not possible. You are going to get set happiness and distress, which is given as a quota in your life. Okay, you may accumulate the money in 1 year or the same money in 5 years is up to you. But the quota is set.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Question number 2. When we are little far from our close family members, and when we talk with them for a long period of time over the phone, does it also come under prajalpa? The answer is depends on what you talk about. If your conversation starts with, oh, you know what happened, blah, 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 and you are simply talking about negative points of someone, well, that is prajalpa. Rather, the conversation should be inquire about the health and well-being of your family, and then discuss what you have learned from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. scriptures. Such Krishna Katha discussion will purify you and your family members because you are using the senses in Krishna's service. Does that answer the inquiry? I'm pretty sure all of you are far away and having to chat with your family over the phone.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just, this is not my question, but I come across this all the time because I have family members or even the closest family members in India who is an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So when I speak with my father, I can be very frank about that. But he is concerned about me as I'm his daughter. But he always asks me, are you eating eggs? Are you eating chicken? So, but now I don't. So I cannot just tell him the reason why, because that is going to disturb him. But like I just say to him that I'm in good health and I'm eating well.
So you're doing it good, that you are not agitating your elder parent and you are giving the right answer that you are in good health so that he is not disturbed. So you are doing it right. So we have to apply according to time, place, and circumstances rather than being hard-hearted. Or you are doing it good. All right. Question number 3. I don't fully understand niyama agraha. Too much attachment to rules. Is there a danger of over-applying verse interpretations too strictly to every situation in a grahastha life as opposed to finding a balance? So be very careful with this inquiry. You do not judge by yourself what rule to be adjusted according to time, place, and circumstances. Rather, get guidance from a senior devotee. Otherwise, you may end up saying that chanting 16 rounds of japa is not important. So over applying rules and principles is not the point when we discuss niyama agraha. So all rules and regulations are important to follow. So we have to be adapt. Adapt means we have to be expert. Adapt means be an expert to know what to adopt and what to adapt. So very fine difference between adopt and adapt. What to adopt means take the scriptures as it is and present the message as it is. What to adapt means what to present according to time, place, and circumstances. And this will vary. So I had given this example, and I'll repeat the example, that you want to build a temple with east facing. But the location that you have is not east facing. Therefore, you say that I will not build the temple. So instead of not building a temple, you have to consider the higher principle that as long as Krishna is glorified in a temple, the east facing becomes secondary. What has happened is that there are two rules and there is a conflict. So you have to consider the higher principle. But why I said you be careful is because in my beginning stage, in my beginning sadhaka stage, I don't know all the rules and regulations. Therefore, I said be careful and you don't judge. Get guidance from a senior devotee or your spiritual master that I had this conflict. What do I do now? so that you don't blindly say for yourself that so and so rule is not important, therefore there is nothing for me to follow. No, you don't do that at all. Rather, get guidance from a senior devotee on what should be done according to time, place, and circumstances. Does that answer this inquiry?
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 4. Laulyam or greed. How can one control or guide the thoughts or expectations of family wanting more mentality? Example, family wants big house, big car, etc. So to answer this question, I will ask all of you to answer one of my question right now. My question to all of you is, assuming you all know how to drive a car, or you will learn at some point on how to drive a car. So my question is, so if you have learned to drive a car, will you be able to fly an airplane? Everybody, please answer.
No,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
No,
you-
Prabhu.
No.
No.
Why not? Why
It's
not?
different. The plane is different.
Okay. All of you answered no. Why not?
It requires other skills.
Very good. Similarly, because you have not learned to fly the airplane, therefore you won't be able to fly the airplane. Similarly, you have learned Krishna conscious philosophy and rules, etc. Does not mean others in your family have automatically learned the Krishna conscious philosophy and rules. Therefore, don't expect others to follow by default what you are studying and you are learning and you are following. No, don't expect that by default. Rather, give prasad to your family. And when you are having conversations with your family, either in person or on the phone, what you are learning in class, explain those same points to your family instead of the gossip talking with your family. Then your family will be on the same page if they are able to understand those points. So one devotee, virtually present here, had an offline conversation with me about demigods, that my parents have so much faith and interest in demigods, but this devotee has faith in Krishna. So what do I do? So I said, you can have the conversation from the demigod discussion that we had in batch 6 and 7. You can then explain those points without forcing your family. So don't force your family. Just because you are learning doesn't mean your family has learned. So you first teach your family. You first give them prasad. Does that answer the inquiry? All right. Question number 5. If someone is doing devotional service in the desire to going back to Godhead and not come back in this cycle of birth and death because it is full of pain, but not because of pure love for Krishna, then is that considered extraneous motive to do service? So this is an example of not pure devotional service. So I request you to still keep hankering for wanting to go back to Godhead, because this is a spiritual desire. By continuing to endeavor in Krishna conscious activities, you will also end up purifying this desire to simply desiring to serve Krishna. Krishna states in 3.29.13 Srimad Bhagavatam that my devotees do not accept any kinds of liberation if service to the Supreme Lord is not included together with liberation. So right now you are wanting liberation, but continue, keep hankering. You will get purified and you will come to the point of the point described in 3.29.13 that you will also say, you know what, I don't want liberation, I only want service. Does that answer the inquiry? I'm assuming some of you forgot who asked the question because it was a little while ago. Okay. Question number 6. What does so-called spiritual advancement mean? Is it someone who is just pretending to be a devotee? So we discussed at our last class the point about what is bhakti and what is not bhakti. Bhakti means cultivation and commitment to devotional service. Bhakti is not some sentiment that, oh, I got darshan of Shri Radha Krishna. No, that sentiment, that is not bhakti. Without service, there is no bhakti. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada has translated bhakti as devotional service. Devotion is internal, and that internal devotion is expressed through external service. Does that answer the inquiry? Okay, I got silence. Okay, I'll continue. Question number 7. There are occasions in our professional life when a person has to work for more number of hours than required. Is it covered under the category of over-endeavoring? Very practical example. So we have discussed balance between material and spiritual duties with the example of riding a bicycle. So the analogy of riding a bicycle is that you are riding a bicycle, you have the handle straight, and when you have to make a turn, you tilt the handle, and after you make the turn, if you don't tilt the handle back in the straight position, well, then you will keep circling and you will fall down. Meaning, at times when you have to spend more time for material duties, then yes, spend more time for material duties as long as you come back to catch up on the missed spiritual task after the material duty requiring more time is over. I'll give you my own example that as an accountant, right now, this month of March is a very busy year-end time. And I have to spend more time at work to finish time-sensitive work duties, which require extra time being spent on the material work. So yes, I do spend more time for material duties, resulting in some days my daily reading goal is either less than the goal or sometimes I don't even read. So on my sadhana card to my spiritual master, I do mention that the reading was less because of year-end extra work. Simultaneously, I have the solution also mentioned. So many of you got the sadhana monitor card from me, the virtual document to monitor. That what is my solution for missing this reading? That after the year-end work is finished, or say on the weekends, I spend little extra time to read more to catch up. So same way, those of you who want to share your experience with the sadhana monitor card, that what happens when, say, you have set a quota of, say, you read 15 minutes every day and you don't read. So there are two columns. You put 0 that you read 0. So one column will show a negative that I did not read for my required 15 minutes. And then there is another column that what's your action plan for this? Somebody wants to share who has the sadhana card from me? I think it's only Tara here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, the card, sadhana card is actually so helpful to keep track whether uh, we're doing what we decided to do for our sadhana. So, like you mentioned, the number of rounds for japa and book reading, as well as any lectures that we heard. And so there is a column where we have specified how many minutes that we are going to read. The next to it, how many we ended up reading for that day. And then if we were not able to accomplish that, it will show up as read in the next column. And then you try as quickly as possible to make up for the missed, for example, missed number of rounds for japa. And then once you complete those extra rounds and you add to the column, then the red part will, the missed number of japas will be covered.
Okay, very good. Thank you for describing it properly. So those of you who want to get that sadhana card, get it from me, because unless you monitor, how do you know you are off track? So right now, some of you are off track, but you don't even know. So if you don't even know, how are you going to rectify? And my spiritual master has a punchline for this sadhana card that what gets noticed, your attention will flow there. So if you notice that I have too many reds on my sadhana card, well, then I have to fix something. But right now you don't even know, then how are you going to fix it? Very good. Thank you, Dara. Does that answer the inquiry? All right. Question number 8. In today's times, it is required to collect fund for emergency situation. How can we decide the amount is enough to fulfill basic necessities of life and emergency situation? So we have discussed in our Bhagavad Gita discussion that prescribed duty means that honorable duty in material world that allows me to earn bare minimum to keep my body and soul together so as to provide basic necessities for my family, plus I have time for spirituality. Bhagavad Gita 3.14 says, Yajna karma samudbhava, that material and spiritual duties are born together. So scriptures give this principle instead of a laundry list of prescribed duties for each individual. So you have to judge for yourself whether you have a balance between material and spiritual duties to decide how much endeavor you have to make to collect money. We anyway read from 3.27.8 few minutes ago that you are only going to get what is destined for you. Does that answer the inquiry? I'm pretty sure it applies to many of you. All right. Question number 9. Because we aren't meant to desire more than we require to maintain our lives, in realizing this, I am more prone to not doing my required duties, maybe making me more lazy day by day, thinking little is enough. Is this the right mindset I am developing? So as part of our discussion to not over endeavor in the material world, we also discussed that rest of the time we need to spend on spiritual activities. So there's a very easy verse reference to remember. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.3. Very easy to remember, 3.2.3. It describes, and we'll soon read, describes that material body age increases, devotional service also increases, even though material body age is increasing. In material world, there is retirement because body gets old and tired. But in spiritual duties, there is no such thing as retirement. Rather, devotional service increases even with increase in bodily age. So let's read 3.2.3 from the screen, translation and purport. Let's see who has not read. Gulshan?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, translation and
Purport. Yeah, translation and paragraph 1 purport.
Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him. Purport. Transcendental service to the Lord is not mundane. The service attitude of the devotee gradually increases and never becomes slackened. Generally, in old age, a person is allowed retirement from mundane service. But in transcendental service of the Lord, there is no retirement at all. On the contrary, the service attitude increases more and more with the progress of age. In the transcendental service, there is no satiation and therefore there is no retirement. Materially, when a man becomes tired by rendering service in his physical body, he is allowed retirement. But in the transcendental service, there is no feeling of fatigue because it is spiritual service and is not the bodily plane. Service on the bodily plane dwindles as the body grows older, but the spirit is never old, and therefore on the spiritual plane, the service is never tiresome. Uddhava undoubtedly.
So on spiritual level, your service increases even when your age increases. Does that answer the inquiry? Right. Question number 10. Let's say I'm doing my prescribed duty, but yet gain more than required. Am I still stealing? And am I prone to punishment? So Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada have said that if you have money, print and distribute books. So for this hypothetical example, that if you have money, well, then use it for printing and distributing books. And you are not stealing anything. Does that answer the inquiry? Prabhu?
Probably like my question is related to the question 9. So many times what happens is we get bored, like we say that, okay, I've already heard Uttava's story many times, why should I attend our class? So how to overcome that situation, like
Yeah.
boredom?
Yeah, this is a rhetorical question answered in 1.1.16. Let's see if I can bring up on screen 1.1.16, where the sages of Naimisharanya, they say that who will not be interested in hearing Krishna Katha, means they are saying it sarcastically, that somebody who has no taste for spirituality they will end up saying that I have heard this pastime earlier. So why would I hear it again? So it's a matter of developing the taste. So right now I won't bring it, but use the reference 1.1.16, very easy reference to remember. And you can read, actually let me just read the translation for your reference. So 1.1.16 says, translation, who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? So this is your taste, that you don't have taste for spirituality, that it's the same pastime. Well, then I will go and do something else. No, if you have taste, well, then you will listen the same pastime again and again because you will relish it again and again. Kunal Prabhu, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank
Everybody on the same page? I think I have to share my screen again. I stopped sharing. Okay, hold on. Everybody able to see my screen again?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So these were the next set of questions. We still have about 30 minutes and I still have 13 questions. So I will try to answer all the questions remaining, but with the understanding that we may not be able to finish all. Remainder I will answer in subsequent class. So again, the count starts from 1 because they were submitted in different classes. I'm just catching up on the inquiries. So question number 1 again. How to do japa? If we are unable to join the online japa group that we have with devotees across all batches, is it okay if I just do 1 round initially instead of the 16? So yes, you are okay to do 1 round by yourself. You don't have to join the japa group online if it's not permitting you. And whenever it permits you, you can join the japa group online. So I will play Shalini Gopal Krishna's video here. And in the video, she has demonstrated how to do japa. So some of you have already seen this before. Some you have joined partway, so you might not have seen this. So I will just play that. In the video, she is describing it perfectly in terms of how to hold japa, what prayers to recite. So basically, the japa mala has a head bead, which is Krishna, and then there are 108, which are gopis. So we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the entire mantra for those 108 beads, and we keep turning those beads. So Shalini is going to demonstrate in the video on how to do japa. And many of you know it, or even if you don't, you can fine tune here. So let's hear from Shalini, and you can ask questions.
Hare Krishna, I'm going to show you how to do the japa in the correct way. So first you have to wear the bag along with the beads inside in this way, wherein the opening, the bigger opening is on the right side and the smaller one is on the left side. Okay, so then let's go and look at the beads. So the beads are inside. So this first bead is the head bead. This is Krishna. This is the Krishna bead, and after that these are the 108 gopis. So you always start with the larger bead and then keep proceeding. And when you start, you have to hold this, but you can hold with the other fingers, but keep the index finger out, and then you start. So I'm holding the head bead and then I'll keep moving use my other fingers to keep moving. So let me start. So for the head bead, I'll tell you what is supposed to be told, and then I can send it to you also. You can follow. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Now with the first bead I'm starting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so on. Now as I'm telling, once I'm repeating the mantra, Maha Mantra, then I'm moving my fingers to the next bead, saying it again and then continuing that. So once I'm done, I come to the end. So I've started from the largest bead, I come to the smallest bead. So I would have come here. So once I come to the smallest bead, after I finish a circle, we are not supposed to cross over the head bead. So we have to turn it back again and start from the small bead. So that's how you're supposed to do. So again, after one round, again you start saying that Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda, and then you start off from the smaller bead and continue. So this is, you finish 2 rounds. I hope this is clear. Okay, thank you.
So Shalini did demonstrate with the beads where you have larger beads going down to smaller beads, but there are beads also available which are just same round beads where they are all of the same size, so it doesn't matter, you can start either way. But if you have those larger and smaller beads, then start with the larger and go to the smaller one. Does that answer the inquiry on how to do japa?
I have a question.
Yep.
Do we have to keep that beads in the bag? Can we just keep it on a table or something and do it?
So keep it in a bag, because when you are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra on the beads get infused with Krishna. So you don't want Krishna to be placed on some dirty place. So table, yes, at the time may be clean, but something you bring or something spills or something happens. So that beads get infused with Krishna. Therefore, put them properly in a bag, in the bead bag, and don't take them to the washroom also. Madan Prabhu?
Yeah, so can we start from the smallest bead and go upward, or does it have to be start from the big one?
You have to start with the big one, because we have discussed this we discussed this at the start of Nectar of Instruction in terms of how knowledge comes. It comes from top down, that the parampara, it's coming in parampara. That's what you are trying to do and trying to remember and follow. That you are trying to start with the top one and going down, not bottom up approach. The bottom up approach for spirituality is impossible, because I have not seen spirituality at all. Matan Prabhu?
Yeah, when we come back, then we are starting again from the smallest one, going up.
You keep turning. That I understand. That you are turning back. Instead of crossing the Krishna bead, you are turning, and then the second round starts with the smallest bead.
Yeah.
The first one, that's important. The first one, you have to start with the bigger bead, because the parampara comes down from top to down.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody on the same page? All right. Question number 2. From the 9 processes of devotional services, please elaborate and the explanation for point number 8, making friends with the Lord. So we'll soon be discussing Nectar of Devotion. Nectar of Devotion describes that the Sakhya Rasa is very difficult. The closest activity in Sakhya Rasa that you can do is books distribution. That Krishna wants to distribute the books, and you are assisting Krishna as a friend to distribute the books on behalf of Krishna. That's all I have to say. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Prabhu.
Question number 3. So this is a practical example that we did at our last class, and the devotee who asked this question listened to the recording and tried to follow that same exercise. So when you asked at our last class us to meditate for 1 minute, I misunderstood and chanted silently. That was effective and it pulled my mind back from wandering. But from attendees' responses, it sounded like no one else chanted to meditate. Are these two things mutually exclusive? So there's a very good example that the devotee did the same exercise even while listening to the class recording. Very good, thank you. So the exercise was to meditate silently, like how Gyan Yogi and or Ashtang Yogi will meditate to see if you are able to focus the mind, not by chanting, rather by meditating on something to see if you are able to focus the mind. And everyone experienced that it is impossible to control the mind with silent meditation. Plus, Srila Prabhupada has explained that chanting is also devotional service. Hence, we have to chant loudly as an additional reason to chant loudly. So the devotee who listened to the class recording chanted Hare Krishna Mahamantra silently. So this Gyan Yogi and Ashtang Yogi silently meditating is a different process than the Bhakti Yoga process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly. Krishna has described in Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that Gyan Yoga meditation is very difficult in embodied state. And simultaneously, Krishna has also stated in Bhagavad Gita 8.14 that Bhakti Yoga process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is an easier process to control the mind. So the key word is easier. That Bhakti Yoga process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly is easier process as compared to the other yoga processes such as Gyan Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga of silent meditation. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, Hare Krishna, thanks.
Thank you. Question number 4. On many occasions during day-to-day work, I find it helps to chant silently. Is that wrong from Krishna's point of view? It somehow felt that chanting silently on and off during the day made me feel better balanced and closer to God. I may have poorly understood from class that it's wrong. Please clarify. So it is not wrong. For your prescribed number of japa rounds for the day, you should chant loudly. Whether your prescribed number of rounds of japa for the day is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, any number, whatever you have set, those prescribed number of rounds, you should chant loudly to hear what you are chanting. For rest of the day, to remember Krishna, do whatever works for you. Either remembering verses, or remembering kirtan, or remembering Krishna's pastimes, or chanting japa in your head, or remembering the qualities of Krishna, which many of you have heard from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Kunti Maharani prayer. So do whatever works. But the prescribed number of rounds of japa, that you should chant loudly. Does that answer the inquiry?
Yes, thank you. That's very helpful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Question number 5. My question is about abandoning association with non-devotees. I try to not associate with non-devotees, but sometimes they just call you because they are going through tough times. Is it okay to just listen so they can feel better? Or is it also prajalpa and should be avoided at all cost? So today we discussed Madhyam Adhikari, and this will soon read in Nectar of Instruction as well as will come up in Nectar of Devotion as well as in Shishopanishad, the hierarchy of devotees. So the lowest is neophyte, next level up is Kanishta Adhikari, next level up is Madhyam Adhikari, and the highest level is Uttam Adhikari. Srila Prabhupada has asked that all devotees should come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari. Even if someone is at the highest level of Uttam Adhikari, Srila Prabhupada says you should still come down to Madhyam Adhikari level, because for preaching purposes, Madhyam Adhikari is appropriate, because Madhyam Adhikari sees the body and the soul together, while the Uttam Adhikari only sees the soul, and it's very difficult to answer questions when you are having bodily discomfort. The characteristics of Madhyam Adhikari are 4. Understands Krishna is the object of my meditation. 2nd, makes friends with devotees. 3rd, gives mercy to innocent. And 4th, avoid atheist. And further, in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.24, we'll soon read, 2.3.24 says that by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if your heart does not become soft, then your heart is steel framed. Therefore, don't become hard-hearted in the name of Krishna consciousness. Use the opportunity for yourself to come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari by giving your mercy to this innocent person. How do you do this is important to understand. If you simply hear what the other person has to say, then it will most likely be prajalpa. Rather, you use Shastra Chakshu. Whatever the other person is saying, you try to correlate with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam verses. So you don't have to say those verses to the other person if the other person is going through a miserable state. So you use your judgment whether you have to quote the verses or not to the other person. You gauge for yourself the level of misery of the other person. If the other person is in significant distress, then absolutely do not run a truckload of philosophy on them. Consider to speak those same Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita verses later sometime to this other person. So to summarize, don't become hard-hearted. Give your mercy to the innocent and simultaneously to also protect yourself from prajalpa. Try to use Shastra Chakshu to find a relevant verse for the other person's situation. And even if you do not speak those Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam verses to the other person right now, at least you try to remember Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam verses for the other person's mundane conversation. So you converted the mundane conversation into bhakti yoga, at least for yourself. So you can use the opportunity to invite the distressed person to Sunday feast. This way, they get prasadam and darshan of Shri Shri Radha Krishna and association of some pure devotees at the temple. So I will read the translation of 2.3.24. 2.3.24 says, certainly that heart is steel framed, which, in spite of one's chanting the holy name of the Lord with concentration, does not change when ecstasy takes place, tears fill the eyes, and hairs stand on one end. Does that answer that very important practical inquiry?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Question number 6. While Mahatma Gandhi was known socially, politically a saint, he spoke and quoted Gita. Did he have a spiritual master? If not, is it correct to quote the scriptures, irrespective of any material degree, without having instruction from spiritual master? So I have not heard anywhere that the person we know as Mahatma Gandhi, whether he had a spiritual master, I have not heard that anywhere, so I don't know. In terms of quoting scriptures, use caution. Randomly quoting verses can be agitating to a new person, even if you know the scriptures. So it is only when you become little bit expert in scriptures that you are able to intelligently guide the new person through various parts of scriptures. Only then you speak scriptures, and that too you have to judge whether the new person is ready to hear the scriptures. So be very cautious. In the interim, take this new person to a senior devotee and let the senior devotee handle the situation. And this way, you are giving this new person an opportunity to meet and converse with a senior devotee. Does that answer the inquiry? Yes, no, silence.
Yes.
Thank you. Question number 7. How to find a spiritual master if in case we are in a transferable job when a particular location is not fixed and keeps on changing in few years. So Vani and Vapu are the two ways to associate with spiritual master. Vani means to follow the instructions of spiritual master, and Vapu means being in physical proximity of spiritual master. So Krishna consciousness is based on Vani, means one should follow the instructions of spiritual master. This way you are in constant association with your spiritual master. For me, generally, the spiritual master comes to visit Toronto Temple 3 or 4 days in a year. And this is the only time there is physical proximity. Rest of the year, the disciple should follow the instructions of spiritual master, which means the disciple is in constant association with the spiritual master. So I will play a short video explaining this point, that Vani Seva to spiritual master is more important than Vapu Seva. Let's hear.
many devotees are complaining. My guru has so many disciples who have no connection with him. He's so far and very far back behind. Even if he's physically present, my senior powerful brothers and sisters, they will block me from having access. How do I connect to my guru? The science is not physical. Don't you have your mind? You don't have the mind to think of your guru? You don't have your tongue, the mind to pray to the guru, to confess, to tell him, to beg him for strength, to beg him for shelter, to beg him for protection, to thank him for everything that he's doing? That facility, everybody has it. Why can't we use it? So use it. So for a devotee who is using this, following the principle, where is the distance between you and your spiritual master? Where is the distance? The mind not engaged in Christian consciousness is creating the distance. Therefore, the process is given to us here.
Does that answer the inquiry?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I had a question. This may be a stupid question, but are you our spiritual master?
I am not a spiritual master. I am nobody's spiritual master. I am a servant. Spiritual masters are those who are able to give you initiation, like my spiritual master, His Grace Vaisheshikada Sadhikari, or at the Toronto Temple, you have His Holiness Bhaktimark Swami. There are about 150 spiritual masters in ISKCON. They are spiritual masters. I am just a servant trying to serve you all to bridge a gap, because studying scriptures by yourself could be challenging. Lakshmi?
Yeah, I suppose that is according to like the organizations, or I don't know what view, but like to me, like you are the person who gives us all these practical explanations. Is it wrong to think in the mind that you are imparting this? So you are a spiritual.
I am not spiritual master at all. I am not giving you anything by myself. Whatever I am speaking is all coming from purports and Prabhupada lectures and Guru Maharaj's lectures and other Acharyas' lectures. Yes, the voice is coming out from my voice, but it is not me speaking. I am only an instrument. Therefore, I am not a guru. I am just a servant. I have explained this at the start of our Bhagavad Gita, that I am just a servant. I am just trying to bridge a gap, that if you study these scriptures by yourself, it's going to be very challenging, at least for some. And if you listen to Prabhupada lecture, well, Prabhupada is physically not present right now. So if you have questions, where do you go? So I'm just bridging that gap to make you understand and connect the dots, just because Srila Prabhupada is not physically present. But definitely I am not a guru. I am just a servant. I'm just doing a service given to me. Lakshmi?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. But how important is it then in this journey to find, as this question is asking, a spiritual master?
So we'll soon discuss in Nectar of Devotion. Nectar of Devotion gives 64 items of devotional service. The first 5 items from the 64 items is essentially talking about getting initiation from a spiritual master, from a bona fide spiritual master. So it's the most important activity, because without a spiritual master, if you practice by yourself, it's going to be very difficult. Yes, so you all are doing devotional service right now, but it's a very tiny bit of progress that you do. And the example to understand this is that you have fallen down in a well, and without a spiritual master, you are trying to climb out of the well by climbing the rope or by climbing to the wall of the well. What is going to happen? Most likely, if you try to come out of the well by yourself,
You're going to get tired and fall behind.
yeah, tired and fall behind. Exactly. There's very high likelihood of you falling down. Versus getting a spiritual master means you are just holding on to the rope, and the rope, the spiritual master is pulling you up. Just as you are in an elevator. We have discussed this, except for batch 6 and 7 devotees. We have discussed this express elevator concept. That is bhakti yoga. That you are just situating yourself in an elevator and somebody else is pulling you up. But definitely, I am not a guru. I am just a servant doing a service given to me. And more importantly, it's very important for all of you to get a spiritual master at some point of time. Because without a spiritual master, rest of the advancement is not possible. Advancement in spirituality is not possible because we are controlled by the modes. Anybody here not controlled by the modes?
No, I am. Sure.
Right, so it is going to be very difficult. The spiritual master is not under the control of the modes. Therefore, spiritual master is able to free us from the modes. We ourselves cannot free us. I am also under the control of the modes. Everybody on the same page that I am not a spiritual master and that you all should get a bona fide spiritual master?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So we are just about at 11:30 a.m. here in Toronto time. There are 6 more questions which I will answer at the following class. Right now, I request you to please take snapshots of the striking points and inquiries. So this is slide number 1. Slide number 2. Slide number 3. Slide number 4. And slide number 5. So try to memorize all the verses up to text number 3. Nectar of instruction. I have given you so many verses. And are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.